Meet the covalent bond, a strong connection where atoms share electrons to stay stable, like best friends holding hands. They stick together to form molecules from water to oxygen. Covalent bonds are everywhere in life. How covalent bond is formed? In this type of bond formation, atoms share their outer electrons to gain stability. This occurs between non-metallic atoms and the bond formed is called the covalent bond. During the bond formation, the atoms involved gain stability by assuming their less noble gas configuration. For example, you can see in the figure at the right hand side that the two hydrogen atoms share their outer electrons to form a bond between them. So, a single covalent bond is formed between the two hydrogen atoms and the resultant hydrogen atoms due to the formation of the pair of electrons around them. They have the nearest noble gas configuration that is like the configuration of the helium atom. What type of elements do this and share their electron pairs to form covalent bonds? Non-metallic atoms usually share their outer electrons to form covalent bonds. Elements like hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, halogens share their electrons to form covalent bonds. Hydrogen molecule. Two hydrogen atoms share their electrons to form a covalent bond, thus gain a full outer shell with two electrons. The shared pair of electrons is known as a single covalent bond and is represented by a single line, as in hydrogen molecules, that is between the two hydrogen atoms joined by a single line. It represents a single covalent bond between the two hydrogen atoms. Chlorine molecule. Two chlorine atoms share their outer electrons to form a covalent bond, thus gain a full octet of 8 electrons. This shared pair of electrons is also a single covalent bond between the two chlorine atoms and represented by a single line between the two chlorine atoms. So that is, a single line is written between the two chlorine atoms. Here in the box in the left hand side, you can see that two chlorine atoms are sharing their electrons. Actually, it happens by sharing the electrons from the outer shell of the chlorine atoms. You can see that outer shell of the chlorine atoms have 7 electrons in each of the two atoms. So, one electron is needed by both of the chlorine atoms to complete their octet. So, as a result, 2 electrons are shared, each 1 electrons by each chlorine atom, and thus a bond pair is formed between the two chlorine atoms, resulting in the formation of a single covalent bond between the chlorine atoms. Ammonia molecule. 3 hydrogen atoms share their electrons with the nitrogen atoms to form covalent bond, thus gain a full outer shell of 2 electrons. Nitrogen form 3 single covalent bond with the hydrogen atom, but there is in structure you may see nitrogen atom in ammonia molecule carry a lone pair of electron as well. Methane molecule. Methane molecule contain atoms of carbon and hydrogen. The molecular formula is CH4. Electronic configurations are carbon 6 and hydrogen 1. The carbon atoms need 4 more electrons to attain the electronic configuration of the noble gas neon. Each hydrogen atom need only 1 more electrons to form the electronic configuration of the helium. So both type of atoms gain these electronic configurations by sharing of the electrons. Here in the box, you can see that carbon has 4 outer electrons and carbon is sharing 4 electrons with the 4 hydrogen atoms. So there a single 4 covalent bonds are formed between the carbon atoms with hydrogen atoms, and carbon completes outer shell of the electrons like the configuration of the neon atom, and hydrogen after sharing have configuration of the 2 electrons, that is like the configuration of the helium atom. Hydrogen chloride molecules. 2 Two different elements, hydrogen and chlorine, share electrons to gain the electronic configuration of their nearest noble gases. In this case, hydrogen with only one electron in its outer shell need to share one more electron to gain the electronic configuration of the helium. Here in the box, in the structure, you can see that chlorine is sharing one electron of the hydrogen atom. Thus, formation of the single covalent bond between the chlorine and hydrogen atom. So, octet of the chlorine has been completed, and hydrogen atom also gain the configuration of the helium-like structure. Actually, chlorine and hydrogen chloride, the chlorine atom has 7 electrons in its outermost shell, so it also needs to share one more electron, so gain the electronic configuration of the noble gas organ. In this way, it gains stability. Water molecule. Two different elements, hydrogen and oxygen, share electrons to gain the electronic configuration of their nearest noble gases. In this case, hydrogen with only one electron in its outer shell needs to share one more electron to gain the electronic configuration of the helium. Oxygen, on the other hand, has 6 electrons in its outermost shell, so it also needs to have 2 more electrons to gain the electronic configuration of the nearest noble gas neon. In this way, it gains stability.